Continuing from the previous episode 602. Chapter 1531. Hun Qian Mo. I accept. A glint flashed across the eyes of the Hall of Souls chief after Xiao Yan uttered those words. He did not open his mouth, but everyone could sense the sudden increase in pressure. A storm was imminent. It is time to end our conflict. The many years of waiting had finally resulted in this situation. However, Xiao Yan's mind remained peaceful. He had once been a youth who had worked hard with final aim of defeating the Mist Cloud sect in the Jia Ma Empire, but then the Hall of Souls had appeared out of nowhere. They captured his father and destroyed his clan. They had even nearly ended the Xiao clan's bloodline. This hatred could never be reconciled. Since that time, the somewhat tender youth understood in his heart that his future path would be filled with difficulty, but he had chosen to continue advancing without hesitation because there were some things that could not be left undone even if they were extremely difficult. From a certain point of view, the Hall of Souls had played a great part in allowing Xiao Yan to reach this stage today. They had given Xiao Yan a potent motivation. How bold. Old man Hun Mo beside the chief of the Hall of Souls glanced at Xiao Yan with a dark and cold expression as he strangely laughed. Xiao Yan glanced at him indifferently. He quickly looked back at the chief of the Hall of Souls and asked, "May I know how we will proceed with this challenge?" "There will be 3 rounds with the winner being the party that wins 2 of the matches. Each of us will send out 3 people to engage in an all-out fight." The chief of the Hall of Souls explained in a low voice. "Of course, if you wish for everyone from the Hall of Souls and the Sky Mansion Alliance to fight, this chief will not object. My Hall of Souls has stood in the Central Plains for many years. If you really think that you can fight us by randomly gathering some factions to form an alliance, you are really a little too naive. Your words do carry some weight since you have the support of the Hun clan." Xiao Yan smiled and shook his head. He immediately said, "If we were to engage in a large-scale battle, even if my Sky Mansion Alliance ended up being annihilated, your Hun clan would definitely suffer some serious damage. It seems that the Hun clan is unwilling to suffer such losses." This decisive battle invitation clearly indicated that the Hall of Souls did not intend to engage in a large-scale war. Hence, they had arranged this fight between the highest-level experts. Although their battle would not be very large, they were representing their respective camps. If they were to lose, they would be weaker than the other party in the future regardless of what they could do. You are allowed to select the first 2 individuals. The chief of the Hall of Souls informed him in a faint voice. Winning 2 out of 3 rounds, huh? Allowing others to have what they want is a good virtue. Xiao Yan slightly smiled as he opened his mouth to reply. This Hun clan was unwilling to let the Hall of Souls suffer losses amounting to 80 or 90% of its strength. He was also unwilling to completely lose the Sky Mansion Alliance. The alliance was all he could rely on to fight the Hun clan. It had only gained such an achievement after being managed with great difficulty. How could he simply lose it? Although the words of the Hall of Souls chief might be unpleasant, they were indeed the truth. The current Sky Mansion Alliance was able to fight the Hall of Souls, but the alliance would definitely suffer irreparable losses if it really wanted to completely destroy the Hall of Souls. It looks like you are also unable to bear the losses from an all-out war. The chief of the Hall of Souls lifted a brow and spoke with a deeper meaning after hearing Xiao Yan's response. "Show me the people who will fight." Xiao Yan smiled and requested. This is the greatest provocation my Hun clan has received during these years." Old man Hun Mo darkly laughed. He immediately took a step forward. "Young fellow from the Xiao clan, include me as one of the 3. After old man Hun Mo stepped forward, an individual with sharp senses would discover that this large mountain was gently trembling. A dragon-like sonic wave escaped from beneath old man Hun Mo's feet. It broke through the large rock within the mountain's body in a wild fashion. After which, it roared and rushed toward Xiao Yan. Bang! The moment the hidden force resembling a huge dragon broke free from the ground, a human figure stepped in front of Xiao Yan. A foot coincidentally landed on the ground where the hidden force was located. The hard ground immediately sank by half a foot. That hidden force was shattered by that figure. The Hun clan is still as underhanded as ever. Xiao Chen was expressionless as he glanced at old man Hun Mo and slowly made a comment. "Blood axe Xiao Chen." Old man Hun Mo's face was dark and cold. Both of his eyes were like poisonous snakes. He stared at Xiao Chen while he uttered each word with a pause. "You ants aren't worthy mentioning the name of the clan head. Xiao Qian appeared just like a slowly waking fierce wolf. A faint murderous intent seeped out of his body a little at a time. The chief of the Hall of Souls and old man Hun Mo frowned. They did not dare to slight Xiao Qian even a little within his heart, especially since the chief had fallen to a disadvantage while fighting Xiao Qian within the demonic flame realm. The chief had become relatively miserable then. Now that they had met again, he naturally felt a great fear within his heart. Ha ha, you are indeed worthy of being Blood Axe Xiao Qian. You are still this strong despite having not appeared for so many years. Although Xiao Zhan was extremely well known, he ultimately could not avoid death. Your Xiao clan is destined to be only a short blooming flower. An elderly figure holding a walking stick, who had been standing beside the chief of the Hall of Souls and old man Hun Mo, slowly appeared in front of everyone in a ghost-like fashion without warning while the two were frowning. Xiao Yan's eyes focused the moment that elderly figure appeared. His expression was grave as he studied the figure. The appearance of this person did not even cause space itself to fluctuate, as though he had been standing in that spot from the beginning. The strength of this person is really terrifying. Xiao Yan and the rest beside him exchanged glances with each other. They were able to see some shock in each other's faces. Hun Qian Mo. Xiao Qian's eyes bore into the elderly person holding a walking stick. This elderly person was so skinny that he appeared to only be made of bones. His shriveled face wore a smile, which caused one to feel uneasy. Those eyes were not as turbid as an ordinary old man. Instead, they contained a strange brightness. Under that pair of eyes, it seemed that even his soul was emitting a piercing pain. The hearts of Xiao Yan's group shook after hearing Xiao Qian utter this name with a pause. The Hun clan had indeed dispatched this old fellow. Hun Qian Mo. Gosh, he is still alive? The Hun clan has even dispatched him. Looks like they are determined to seriously injure the Sky Mansion Alliance. Elders with great experience were not scarce around the mountain. Some of the somewhat younger experts might not have heard of the name Hun Qian Mo. But these elderly individuals were clearly aware of just how frightening this old fellow was. Trash who once begged for mercy before the hands of the clan head actually dares to show itself? Xiao Qian inhaled a deep breath. He suppressed the surging murderous intent within his heart and snarled with an expressionless face. Hun Qian Mo's shriveled face trembled slightly. His eyes, which contained a strange luster, slowly swept over Xiao Qian and Xiao Yan. His hoarse voice was like bones rubbing against each other. Regardless of how powerful he is, he will not be able to avoid death. The winner is king. Currently, the Hun clan still stands at the peak of this continent, but what about the Xiao clan? The Xiao clan, which was once renowned throughout this continent, only lives on as a small group. They are on their last leg beneath the eyes of our Hun clan. It must be said that this is truly a tragedy. Bang! A dark and stern expression surged onto Xiao Qian's face. His body flashed and appeared in front of Hun Qian Mo. A hand of his flew through empty air and a huge blood-colored axe materialized. It was quickly accompanied by a sharp wind that appeared like a thunderbolt as it cut through the sky and violently swung toward Hun Qian Mo. Xiao Qian, even though you have been lucky enough to survive until now, the current you is no longer that blood axe Xiao Qian from back then. Hun Qian Mo's extremely shriveled face revealed a hostile expression when he sensed Xiao Qian's swift attack. His bone-like hand was clenched into a fist, after which, it was thrown toward the huge blood-colored axe. Clang! The wind formed from this terrifying collision caused a couple of the Hall of Souls elite Do Shengs to swiftly withdraw with a change in expression. Only the chief of the Hall of Souls and old man Hun Mo were able to stand their ground. Bam bam! The axe ruthlessly hacked at Hun Qian Mo's fist. An extremely terrifying retaliatory force caused Xiao Qian to stagger back by over 10 steps. His expressions became a little dark and gloomy as he glared at Hun Qian Mo. He had been trapped in the demonic flame illusion for thousands of years. His training results would naturally be inferior to Hun Qian Mo's ordinary training, causing him to feel dissatisfied. Back then, this Hun Qian Mo would only be able to turn around and flee with a terrified expression after seeing him. Xiao Qian, this elderly self has already said that everything has already changed. The current you is no match for me. Hun Qian Mo glanced at the many faint blood imprints on his fist, but he simply ignored them and spoke in a faint voice. He immediately glanced towards Xiao Yan and licked his tongue. You have the scent of Xiao Zhan in your body. It seems that you have really obtained his inheritance in the heavenly tomb. Xiao Yan's expression was calm. The strength of this old man who would not die was likely around that of a 6-star Do Sheng. He was stronger than everyone present. The Hall of Souls had indeed come prepared. Xiao Yan, the Hall of Soul has already selected its competitors. It is your turn. The chief of the Hall of Souls indifferently glanced at Xiao Yan. He took a step forward, implying that the third person was him. A chill surged within Xiao Yan's eyes after seeing their opponents. It seemed that the big battle today would be intense. He should be able to deal with the chief of the Hall of Souls in one of the 3 battles. Old man Hun Mo would be left to ancestor Xiao Chen, but the only big problem was Hun Qian Mo. Oh! Leave that old man who will not die to me. A small figure quietly appeared beside Xiao Yan while this thought was flashing through Xiao Yan's heart. That youthful appearance naturally belonged to the Pill Tower's ancestor. The ancestor Xiao Yan had met in the demonic flame realm back then. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 603. Chapter 1532, Confrontation. Ancestor. The first elder from the Pill Tower by the side revealed a joyous expression after noticing the green-clothed youth beside Xiao Yan. He respectfully cried out, "Greetings to Ancestor." Xiao Yan did not dare slight this shockingly old existence. He immediately cupped his hands together and politely gave a greeting. "Why are you so courteous?" The ancestor of the Pill Tower waved his hand. His clear eyes contained some surprise as they swept over Xiao Yan. He laughed. How unexpected. The purifying demonic lotus flame even I could not subdue has actually fallen into your hands. Such a lucky opportunity is really a source of envy. A divine object like the purifying demonic lotus flame was something that even the ancestor of the Pill Tower coveted despite his strength. However, no one had ever successfully subdued it after all these years. Xiao Yan merely grinned when he heard the Pill Tower's ancestor laughter. He had subdued the purifying demonic lotus flame by luck. If the remnant image of the purifying demonic lotus saint hadn't activated the formation and committed suicide with the demonic flame, he would not have been able to subdue and refine the demon flame that this ancestor of the Pill Tower could not fight even if he was many times luckier. The Pill Tower is also a member of the Sky Mansion Alliance and all of you will be sharing glory or destruction together. Being the Pill Tower's guardian, I cannot keep myself away from this matter. The ancestor of the Pill Tower's somewhat tender face looked at Xiao Yan. There was an unknown feeling within his eyes. He had lived for so many years and had become extremely sharp. He naturally understood the reason Xiao Yan had established the Sky Mansion. Xiao Yan remained relatively calm in the face of the look the ancestor of the Pill Tower gave him. He did not intend to scheme against the Pill Tower. The matter of the alliance was beneficial to him and also benefited the Pill Tower. The Pill Tower had been fighting against the Hall of Souls for quite some time and an increasing number of alchemists, who had been threatened by the Hall of Souls, jumped to a new side. A sharp-eyed person would easily be able to notice such a development. It was likely that the extremely wise ancestor of the Pill Tower also understood what was happening. Therefore, Xiao Yan was not worried that the ancestor would find trouble with him. "Leave that old fellow who will not die, Hun Qian Mo, to me. I do not dare to say that I can defeat him, but a draw is not the worst outcome." The ancestor of the Pill Tower laughed as he softly spoke. "Elder, thank you very much." Xiao Yan sighed in relief. With these words as a guarantee, a factor of uncertainty would be missing from this decisive battle. The ancestor of the Pill Tower. Unexpectedly we have seen this legendary being this time around. It is rumored that this ancestor's actual form is a Tier 9 Zon pill. It is likely that he is the only medicinal pill of this tier in this world. If he is refined. Shut up. Are you seeking death? The strength of this Pill Tower's ancestor has already reached an overwhelming level. Although there are some in the world who can defeat him, it is likely really difficult to find someone who can steadily refine him. Whoever really experiences that blessing would likely. The appearance of the ancestor from the Pill Tower had undoubtedly stirred a big commotion within the surrounding mountains. Some of the experts from the older generation revealed startled faces. Their eyes contained some respect and fear as they looked at the ancestor. At the same time, there were some strange thoughts surging deep within their hearts. After putting aside the strength of the ancestor from the Pill Tower, his actual body as a Tier 9 Zon pill was enough to cause an elite Do Sheng to go crazy with red eyes. Old ghost, it seems that you are intending on going against my Hun clan. Hun Qian's shriveled face slightly shook the moment the ancestor from the pill tower appeared. His voice was hoarse as he said, "In the past, our Hun clan has not attacked the pill tower on account of you. This action of yours is not wise. Ha ha, you undying old thing. Don't you think that speaking these superficial words in front of me is a little comical?" The ancestor of the pill tower smiled faintly upon hearing this threat. He laughed. If the Hall of Souls had experienced the right opportunity, it would have already attacked long ago. Do you think I do not understand you people? All right, there is no need to say such unnecessary words. It has been many years since I have fought with you. I wonder just how much your strength has risen compared to back then? I will let you know. The strange glow within Hun Qian Mo's eyes became brighter. The distance of his voice had also gradually become indistinguishable as his body became a little illusory. All of you should be careful. The ancestor from the pill tower faintly smiled faintly upon seeing Hun Qian Mo's actions. He turned his head and informed Xiao Yan's group. After which, his body quietly disappeared. The next time it reappeared, he was already in the air. He gently waved his hand and the surrounding space rippled. Immediately, a chaotic space was created by him. Hun Qian Mo, the outside area is far too small. Let's enter and fight. The ancestor of the pill tower stood in front of the entrance to the spatial tunnel. He laughed in the direction of Hun Qian Mo below. After which, he turned around and entered that spatial tunnel. After reaching their level, they were able to randomly create a realm to fight in, but this hurriedly formed space was unstable. It would usually disappear after the battle came to an end. HMPH, do you think I am afraid of you? Hun Qian Mo coldly laughed upon seeing the ancestor leave. His body moved and everyone saw the space in the air fluctuate. A figure charged into that spatial tunnel with lightning-like speed. Soon after the both of them entered the realm, the space rippled and became transparent. Everyone's eyesight was able to penetrate this transparent space and see the two figures floating within the chaotic space. One of these figures was the ancestor of the pill tower and the other was Hun Qian Mo. These two are elite 6-star Do Shengs. Ha, it looks like this trip was not made in vain. A fight at this level is extremely rare across the entire continent. The entire mountain range quickly broke into an uproar as the two individuals charged into the realm one after another. This would be the first time most of the people present would be witnessing a face-off between experts of this level. Buzz buzz. The ancestor from the pill tower and Hun Qian Mo did not utter anything unnecessary after entering the realm. They immediately began an extremely heated battle in front of many excited eyes. Even though they were in a different realm, some monstrous energy ripples still spread. The muffled sound of a chiming bell caused many to feel their chests constrict. The battle erupted with lightning-like speed. The frightening energy assault, which could easily destroy the world, caused the hearts of many people to tremble. A strength at that level was really far too attractive. Xiao Chen's eyes glanced at that realm after the battle erupted within that space. After which, he slowly stepped forward without expression. His eyes glanced between the chief of the Hall of Souls and old man Hun Mo. His voice cracked slightly as he asked, "Who will step forward next?" Xiao Chen's voice was not loud. However, it appeared to possess a mysterious strength that could cause one's soul to tremble. Many pairs of eyes that had been watching the fight in the created realm shot over. The chief of the Hall of Souls and old man Hun Mo exchanged glances after looking at Xiao Chen. Old man Hun Mo revealed a dark expression on his elderly face. He took 2 steps forward in front of everyone and said, "Blood Axe Xiao Chen, you were extremely renowned back then. However, you are currently a little outdated. We will know whether I am outdated after exchanging blows." Xiao Chen's expression was still extremely rigid, but his heart became a little more solemn. Regardless of how awful old man Hun Mo's words were, there was indeed a reason behind them. If he had been able to train normally until now, he would not even need to worry about Hun Qian Mo, much less old man Hun Mo. Being a genius of the Xiao clan, he had been filled with pride and confidence. Unfortunately, the truth was ultimately harsh. It had not been easy for him to retain his life after being trapped within the illusion for thousands of years. The increase in his strength had also extremely slow, allowing even old man Hun Mo, who was from the younger generation of the Hun clan, to surpass him. Old man Hun Mo strangely laughed after hearing this reply. His robe fluttered in the absence of wind before he paused in the sky. A vast and mighty dou qi erupted from his body in all directions. In an instant, a black fog blotted out the distant sky. The light over the entire mountain range became a lot dimmer. Gulp. Such a frightening dou qi pressure from old man Hun Mo caused saliva to be swallowed around the mountain range. Many startled eyes landed on old man Hun Mo. Although the fight within the created realm was even more terrifying, it was isolated from everyone present. The shock from that other battle could not compare to directly witnessing such dou qi. Advanced 5-star dou sheng. There are really many experts within the Hun clan. Some of the grand elders within the sect quietly sighed at this moment. They were envious of the Hun clan's mighty foundation. That Xiao Chen is rumored to be someone from the Xiao clan, but from the looks of it, it will be a little difficult for him to beat old man Hun Mo. Oh, it will indeed be an intense battle. The conversations that spread in all directions did not cause even the slightest fluctuation to appear in Xiao Chen's eyes. At this moment, his eyes were only focused on that figure below the vast black cloud in the sky. He stared at old man Hun Mo as a gradual heat filled his eyes. Those who challenge the might of the Xiao clan shall die. Xiao Chen slowly clenched his hand and a 100-foot large blood-soaked axe suddenly appeared. A bright red color also gradually consumed his eyes at this moment. A low roar that belonged to the Xiao clan from the previous era penetrated through buried history and echoed across thousands of years in a blood-boiling fashion. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 604. Chapter 1533. Draw. A low and deep roar was emitted from Xiao Chen's mouth, causing Xiao Yan's heart to tremble at this moment. A strange feeling that originated from deep within his bloodline gradually spread to every part of his body. That feeling caused his soul to tremble. That feeling was an old pride. It was a pride that originated from a clan that had once stood at the peak of the continent. Even though the clan had already declined, that pride was still deeply buried within his bloodline. No one dared to challenge the might of the Xiao clan at its peak. Even the Hun clan could only quietly hide like a poisonous snake. They waited for their opponent to weaken before launching a fatal attack. The current Xiao clan does not have the qualification to utter these words. Old man Hun Mo lowered his head. His eyes were like poisonous snakes as they stared at Xiao Chen, who was holding a large blood-colored axe. Old man Hun Mo mocked him. Even though the Xiao clan has declined, you do not have the qualification to give such an evaluation. Xiao Chen's eyes were frighteningly cold. His foot slammed on the ground, and with a flash, he appeared above old man Hun Mo's head. His enormous blood-colored axe was just like a divine axe that could split the world as it ruthlessly hacked toward old man Hun Mo. Won't you know whether this elderly self is qualified after you try him personally? Old man Hun Mo coldly laughed as Xiao Chen's extremely mighty attack came. He shook his sleeve and over a dozen white bones shot out. Black fog spluttered and swiftly formed a white spiderweb in front of him. He allowed the huge axe to continue down unperturbed. GG! The powerful strength contained in the enormous axe was quickly removed as it struck the web. The speed at which the large axe landed slowed. It seemed as though it had fallen into a choir mare. In the end, it halted just half a foot from old man Hun Mo. Blood Axe Xiao Chen is but only so great. Is that so? A red glow flashed across Xiao Chen's eyes upon hearing this. A trace of blood suddenly appeared as that huge axe was once again swung down. That silk-like bone web was easily cut apart, and the axe continued toward old man Hun Mo's throat. This sudden unexpected change caused old man Hun Mo to feel slightly startled, but he did not panic. His bone-like hand made a strange arc before gently pressing against the axe. After which, he randomly slammed against it with his hand. One could hear a loud sound. That enormous blood-colored axe was actually sent off course. The axe cut away and only removed a lock of old man Hun Mo's hair. HMPH. Old man Hun Mo had suffered a loss during this initial exchange due to being arrogant. His expression became a little dark and cold. The seals formed by his hands suddenly changed as the dark cloud above him, which blotted out the sun, suddenly emitted countless of sharp, miserable screeches. One could even vaguely see an unimaginable number of figures struggling within the dark cloud. Sky Demon Blood Insect, Bite. That black cloud in the sky suddenly churned after old demon Hun Mo's dark and cold cry sounded. A moment later, a fierce aura that did not belong to a human suddenly surged from the dark cloud. A piercing bloody light tore through the dark cloud like lightning in front of tons of pairs of shocked eyes. It wildly charged toward Xiao Chen at speed one could not react to. Ground-splitting hack. The enormous blood-soaked axe in Xiao Chen's hand wildly danced like a windmill as he watched the bloody light rapidly magnify in front of him. The axe paused and a 10,000-foot large bloody glow erupted from the axe. It was accompanied by waves deep sonic booms as it violently collided with the blood glow with lightning-like speed. Splutter. That bloody light flew tens of thousands of feet back after being ruthlessly struck by that 10,000-foot large bloody glow. A sharp strange cry appeared as a couple of mountains were turned into dust. Although it had suffered a serious blow, the life force of the bloodlight was extremely strong. It once again rushed over after just stabilizing its body. This time around its speed much slower. Many people could clearly make out its appearance. The sound from the inhalation of cold air continued to appear. That bloodlight was a toad-like object. However, it was completely dark red in color. There was a countless number of protruding clusters of flesh on its body. If one were to examine it carefully, one would notice that the clusters of flesh possessed many ferocious human faces. It is actually the soul-cursed toad. This old man Hun Mo is really ruthless. Yao Lao scanned this ferocious and frightening blood toad from a short distance away and spoke with a somewhat ugly expression. Xiao Yan knit his brows. He had heard of this soul-cursed toad. It was rumored to be formed by gathering many souls together before forcing all the souls to kill each other. After which, some other ingredients would be gathered and the soul-cursed toad would be refined. This thing was similar to a puppet, but due to it being forcefully formed by gathering many souls together, it also ended up gaining an intelligence. However, this intelligence was accompanied by a violent nature. Once this thing was released, it would go on a wild killing spree. In the end, it would even attack its owner. Normally, only an extremely ruthless person would refine it. Countless pairs of eyes stared at the blood toad from around the mountain range. Hatred and fear, which could not be hidden, involuntarily appeared in their eyes. Clearly, many people had heard about the soul-cursed toad's fierce reputation. Go! Old man Hun Mo ignored these gazes. A stern expression surfaced on his face. His finger pointed towards Xiao Chen, who was a short distance away. That soul-cursed toad once again shot forth after obtaining its orders. Old man Hun Mo, on the other hand, continued to launch sneak attacks while the soul-cursed toad held back Xiao Chen. Each of sneak attack was ruthless and targeted Xiao Chen's fatal spots. Old man Hun Mo was intending on killing the Xiao Chen. Faced with the combined attack of man and toad, Xiao Chen had no choice but to switch from offense to defense. He even vaguely appeared to be at a disadvantage. It seems that the situation is quite bad. Yao Lao and the others frowned and softly made some comments after seeing this scene. On the other hand, those from the Hall of Souls revealed some joyous faces. Xiao Yan's eyes focused on Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen might be restrained in every way, but his expression had not changed much. Xiao Yan quietly sighed in relief upon noticing this. Although ancestor Xiao Chen seemed to be a little weaker than old man Hun Mo, he was still a top-tier person. The many experiences he had accumulated were not things that old man Hun Mo could match. I wonder what the situation is like in that realm. Xiao Yan's head turned to the realm, which had been built earlier. The battle inside had gradually become extremely heated. Even though they were in another realm, Xiao Yan was still able to sense the destructive force erupting within it, but it was currently impossible to clearly observe the battle situation inside with just one's naked eyes. Hence, he could not make out the situation inside. 2 of the 3 battles are currently proceeding, yet the Chief of the Hall of Souls has not attacked. It is likely that he intends to wait for the 2 battles to end before deciding. This thought lingered in Xiao Yan's heart. If both Old Man Hun Mo and Hun Qian Mo were victorious, the Hall of Souls would have won 2 out of the 3 rounds. Then, there would be no need to proceed with the final fight. The battle in the sky became more intense while Xiao Yan was thinking to himself. The sharp exchanges caused one's eyes to be dazzled. Only some of the sharp-eyed individuals were able to barely follow that flickering human figure. Bang! While Xiao Chen and Old Man Hun Mo were engaging in a ferocious and intense battle, a shocking thunder-like explosion suddenly sounded. Everyone's eyes were immediately attracted by this explosion. One could see the spatial tunnel from earlier suddenly exploding apart as two figures flew out of it. Both of them withdrew by 100 steps before they slowly stabilized their bodies. "They have come out?" Many exclamations rang around the mountain range after seeing the two figures shooting out of the spatial tunnel. Old ghost, you do have some skill." Hun Qian Mo stabilized his body in the sky. He did not appear miserable. Even his clothes did not appear to have been touched, but an expert like Xiao Yan was able to tell that the dou qi within this old fellow's body had been exhausted to a relatively miserable extent. From this exhaustion, it was possible to infer just how intense the fight was within that realm. The ancestor from the pill tower in the distance merely smiled but did not speak. "Elder Qian Mo, what is the result?" "Elder, what is the result?" Both the chief of the Hall of Souls and Xiao Yan below opened their mouths at the same time. The result of the fight between these two individuals was critical at this moment. Hun Qian Mo and the ancestor from the pill tower hesitated for a moment upon hearing these questions. They exchanged glances before both saying, "Consider it a draw." The strength of the two was quite similar. It was possible to determine a victor if they were to fight an all-out battle to the death, but it was impossible for the both of them to fight it out to such a stage. The chief of the Hall of Souls and Xiao Yan were startled upon hearing these words. Xiao Yan's reaction was still all right, but the chief of the Hall of Souls ended up frowning. Clearly, he was a little dissatisfied with this result. You should not be dissatisfied. With this old demon intervening, it was quite good to end up in a draw. Hun Qian Mo landed beside the chief of the Hall of Souls and informed him in a faint voice. He was quiet for a moment while his expression became a little darker. Finally, he lifted his head to look at the youthful figure in the distance. He muttered, "It is unexpected. He has actually reached that level. Perhaps the clan head will be interested." The chief of the Hall of Souls did not hear Hun Qian Mo's muttering voice. He bitterly laughed before raising his head to look at the fiery hot battle between Old Man Hun Mo and Xiao Chen. He softly sighed, "As long as Old Man Hun Mo is victorious, the situation will more or less be decided." Hun Qian Mo lifted his head after hearing these words. He scanned the battleground and suddenly frowned. He shook his head and replied in a deep voice, "It will be a little difficult. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Continuing from the previous episode 605. Chapter 1534, Final Round. "What?" The chief of the Hall of Souls' expression underwent a change upon hearing these words. "Old Man Hun Mo possesses the strength of an advanced 5-star Dou Sheng. On the other hand, Xiao Chen was merely an intermediate 5-star Dou Sheng. Given such a gap, it should not be difficult for Old Man Hun Mo to be victorious. If it was really so easy to deal with Xiao Chen, he would not have gained such a reputation back then." Hun Qian Mo replied in a faint voice. Although his reputation had been well known during that era, it was still lacking when compared to someone like Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen had not been trapped in an illusion for so many years, it was likely that even he would be no match for Xiao Chen. The chief of the Hall of Souls frowned. He lifted his head and studied the intense battle. At this moment, Xiao Chen still seemed to be at a disadvantage. At a glance, it seemed that he was in a panic while dealing with the combined attacks of Old Man Hun Mo and the Soul-Cursed Toad. Hopefully everything will be smooth. Clang! The Soul-Cursed Toad's huge body was like a cannonball as it ruthlessly struck the large axe. That frightening attack forced Xiao Chen a couple of steps back. After having stabilized his body, a dark and chilly wind rushed toward a fatal spot on his back with vicious and tricky movements. Xiao Chen twisted his body and swung the axe behind him. It sent that poisonous snake-like chain flying. Although Xiao Chen had blocked this dangerous attack, his blood axe rebounded. His entire arm felt a little numb. "Xiao Chen, regardless of how experienced you are, I surpass you in terms of strength. The thought of defeating me is nothing but a fantasy of an idiot." Old Man Hun Mo's figure appeared on the head of the Soul-Cursed Toad. He looked at Xiao Chen and coldly laughed, "In front of all the heroes in the world, you, a renowned powerful person from back then, has been forced into such a miserable state. It is better to simply withdraw and avoid the humiliation." Xiao Chen's figure flashed and appeared in the air. He glanced at Old Man Hun Mo. Not a single fluctuation appeared on his old face, but the vast and mighty Dou Qi that fluctuated around his body suddenly weakened. Both of his hands gripped the axe handle tighter as he lifted it above his head. "One axe strike and I'll finish you off." HMPH, arrogant. Old man Hun Mo displayed a slightly cold face when he heard this arrogance. His heart became cautious. The mighty dou qi within his body swiftly circulated like floodwater. It formed countless dou qi swirls on the surface of his body. Xiao Chen lifted his blood axe high above his head. The dou qi around his entire body was gradually destroyed. If it wasn't still possible to see his figure with one's naked eye, everyone would have started to think that his breath had suddenly disappeared from this world. Rumble. Layer after layer of dark clouds suddenly appeared as his aura disappeared. Lightning danced within the dark clouds like silver snakes. A loud rumbling sound reverberated through the sky. Xiao Chen's aura suddenly erupted the moment a thunderbolt surged. His aura was like an actual pillar of air as it shot toward the clouds. The most shocking aspect was that Xiao Chen had soared to the advanced level of the 5th star of the Dou Sheng class. How is this possible? Old man Hun Mo's face drastically changed as he sensed Xiao Chen's aura suddenly catch up with him. He had clearly detected Xiao Chen's actual strength at the intermediate level of the 5th star of the Dou Sheng class. How could it? Universe cut. Severing the universe. Xiao Chen did not provide Old Mo with any time to react. The moment his aura soared, the blood axe in his hand abruptly made a strange arc across the sky. Soon after, a thumb-thick bloody line appeared in the sky. The air the bloody line cut seemed to have been severed into two. Lightning rumbled as a bloody aura soared into the sky while a murderous desire churned. Swish! Old man Hun Mo felt his limbs turn cold as he faced the strange bloody line, which was rapidly magnifying in his eyes. An aura of death quietly rose from deep within his heart, but it was fortunate that he was not an ordinary person. He quickly suppressed the panic in his heart. A brutalness rose on his shriveled face at the same time. If he did not risk it all at this moment, he would definitely find it difficult to escape death. Devour Curse Insect. Old man Hun Mo's hand pressed on the Soul Curse Toad's head in front of countless pairs of eyes. The Soul Curse Toad immediately emitted a sharp cry as a blood glow erupted. Everyone watched as the enormous body of the Soul Curse Toad melted at a rate visible to the naked eye. Finally, it turned into a pool of viscous blood that was swallowed into Old man Hun Mo's stomach. Gulp. After Old man Hun Mo swallowed the Soul Curse Toad, his body began to spit out clusters of blood. At a glance, he appeared quite frightening and the mighty dou qi that lingered around his body appeared quite terrifying. At this moment, his dou qi had become extremely violent. Wail. An earth-shaking wail was emitted from Old man Hun Mo's mouth. The energy of the world swiftly gathered in Old man Hun Mo's unusually large mouth. Within a short instant, a viscous blood ball appeared. Bang! The viscous blood ball rushed out in front of many pairs of eyes the moment it appeared. Finally, it collided with the bloodline that was sliding across the sky. Bang! A powerful bloodlight spread upon collision, enveloping the entire mountain range in a dark red color. Some violent emotions quietly appeared in the hearts of some of the weaker individuals. This caused their eyes to turn a bloody red, but it was fortunate that those who had come were individuals with some strength. Their strength protected them from handing control over to the violent emotions. The eyes of Xiao Yan's group on the fallen mountain continued to scan blood-colored ball that was thousands of feet across. Even though there was a great distance between them and the ball, they could still sense the frightening energy that was contained within the blood ball. If this energy spread, at least half of the fallen mountain would turn into flat land. Where is ancestor Xiao Chen? Xiao Yan was about to start to search because of this thought flashed through his heart when two figures suddenly flew out of a huge blood-colored light ball. These two figures heavily shot into two different mountains. A frightening force shook these two mountains until they collapsed. This scene caused everyone to feel startled. They had just let out an exclamation when two figures flew out in a swaying fashion. Their blood-covered bodies appeared somewhat miserable. Ancestor Xiao Chen, Elder Hun Mo. Both parties were startled after seeing the miserable appearances of these two individuals. Clearly, no one expected them to fight with such ruthlessness. Xiao Chen wiped the trace of blood off his face. He glared at Old man Hun Mo in the distance and his eyes became somewhat grave. His strength was indeed only at the intermediate level of the 5th star of the Dou Sheng class. He was unable to continuously unleash that attack from earlier, which could match an advanced 5-star Dou Sheng. However, The regretful thing was that old man Hun Mo was also a ruthless individual. He actually swallowed the curse insect at the last moment and averted a disaster. Of course, swallowing the curse insect might have greatly increased his strength, but the sequela he would experience would also be quite serious. Within the next few decades, this old fellow would have difficulty increasing his strength due to his dou qi being consumed by the curse insect. Xiao Chen controlled his somewhat weak body and slowly landed beside Xiao Yan. At this moment, both he and old man Hun Mo no longer possessed any strength to continue fighting. While Xiao Chen's injury was a result of exhaustion, old man Hun Mo was really a little miserable. "Ancestor Xiao Chen, are you all right?" Xiao Yan hurriedly asked after seeing Xiao Chen landed. At the same time, he swiftly handed Xiao Chen a medicinal pill that radiated a medicinal fragrance. "I'm fine. However, I'm afraid that this match is also a draw. We'll have to rely on you for the final round." Xiao Chen received the medicinal pill and swallowed it. Finally, he lamented in a somewhat regretful voice. "Another draw." Yao Lao and the others by the side involuntarily and bitterly laughed. 2 of the 3 matches bad ended in a draw. This was a little comical, but this meant that the most important match fell to Xiao Yan. "Leave the final match to me." "Draw. Hun Clan's elder, you are really too arrogant this time around." The chief of the Hall of Souls tightly frowned. Clearly, he was a little dissatisfied by the result old man Hun Mo had obtained. "HMPH, why don't you give it a try next time around?" Old man Hun Mo's face became cold. His heart was filled with fury at this moment. Not only did he fail to win, he had even lost the soul curse toad. Moreover, the injuries within his body were giving him a great headache. "I have already told you to engage in an all-out war with the Sky Mansion Alliance, yet all of you have insisted on this whatever upper echelon battle. Now, you have bitten off more than you can chew. If you lose the final match, HMPH, there will really be a good show to see when the time comes." Old man Hun Mo furiously yelled. "The existence of the Hall of Souls is extremely important to our Hun clan. Now is not the time to collide head-on with others. If you really wish for an all-out war, you will naturally be able to fight all you like after our plan has been completed in the future." The chief of the Hall of Souls replied in a faint voice. "Stop uttering nonsense. Mie Sheng, prepare yourself. The final match is between you and Xiao Yan." Hun Mo Qian's eyes glanced at the distant Xiao Yan as he said, "This match between the both of you will determine the victor this time around." The chief of the Hall of Souls slightly nodded. "That brat is extremely cunning and is in possession of the purifying demonic lotus flame. You better not end up unexpectedly losing." Old man Hun Mo coldly spat out. "The purifying demonic lotus flame, huh?" The chief of the Hall of Souls involuntarily exchanged glances with Hun Qian Mo by the side. A strange smile flashed across his eyes. The chief immediately swung his sleeve and slowly stepped forward. This chief wishes to experience just how powerful the purifying demonic lotus flame is in his hands. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 606. Chapter 1535. Xiao Yan vs Hall of Soul Chief. The many pairs of eyes around the mountain range emitted a swoosh sound as they caught the chief of the Hall of Souls stepping forward. The ferocious name that the chief of the Hall of Souls once obtained within the Central Plains had reached a stage where one trembled in fear from hearing it. Although he had gradually faded from one's sight because of his prolonged retreat, his fierce reputation had not disappeared even after a long period of time. If one wished to rank the top individuals within the Central Plains, the chief of the Hall of Souls, Hun Mie Sheng, would take the top seat. 2 draws in 3 battles. This has somewhat surprised this chief, but this will not be able to change the final result. The chief of the Hall of Souls was 1,000 feet from Xiao Yan when he finally came to a slow stop. He lifted his head and looked at Xiao Yan. A faint smile appeared on his face. His aura was calm as he spoke. His expression did not change because of the current situation. Xiao Yan's exchanged a glance with the chief of the Hall of Souls. A hidden flow surged and the temperature of the air seemed to have risen at this moment. We should leave room to retreat when doing anything. At times, we should not be overconfident when speaking. Hall Chief should take care of himself. Xiao Yan softly replied, "Ha ha, the Hall of Souls does not leave anyone alive when doing things. This way of speaking is only for mediocre individuals. If one worries about all this when trying to achieve big things, one would be a little petty. The chief of the Hall of Souls loudly laughed as he quipped. Everyone felt a little excited in their hearts after hearing this verbal sparring. This fight was the most important one today. One party was the chief of the Hall of Souls, and from a certain point of view, Xiao Yan could be considered the leader of the Sky Mansion Alliance. The battle between the two of them determined the victor and the loser of this battle. The clan has criticized me because of you. Back then, I gave the order to dispatch people to the Jia Ma Empire to capture Xiao Zhan. My thought was that we should eliminate everyone when making an attack, but this chief had undertaken a retreat to train when the order was issued. Some of my subordinates were a little lazy and only captured Xiao Zhan since I wasn't around. You managed to escape the many attempts to kill you after that first incident because they all underestimated you. Within a short decade or so, you have reached this level a step at a time. The eyes of the chief of the Hall of Souls were somewhat complicated as he stared at Xiao Yan. This threat to the Hun clan was someone that they could have eliminated long ago, but due to many unforeseen reasons, they had ended up allowing this threat to grow at a terrifying speed. Now, this threat had reached a level where he could fight on even ground with the Hall of Souls. If one were to toss aside this person's status as an enemy, the chief of the Hall of Souls felt an admiration for this person in his heart. He had to admit that if it had been him, he would have found it difficult to overcome this strenuous journey and reach the peak of this continent. This chief has an undeniable responsibility in allowing you to grow to this extent. Hence, this time around, I hope to remove that responsibility. The chief of the Hall of Souls smiled. His eyes roamed Xiao Yan, who had an impassive expression, as he slowly stated. I also hope to help end the blood feud of the members of the Xiao clan today. Xiao Yan's voice was soft, but everyone could hear the dense murderous intent contained within his words. He could not forget those many scattered incidents from back then even now. The Xiao clan had ended up breaking apart because of the Hun clan. His father had been captured and members of the clan had been killed. In the end, they were forced to leave their home and flee to spots around the Jia Ma Empire. At that time, he did not possess the strength to protect his clan. All he could do was set off with the burden of the blood feud. That journey had undertaken had honed his will. At the same time, his hatred for the Hall of Souls had grown. The chief of the Hall of Souls faintly smiled upon hearing this reply. A dark black dou qi slowly surged from his body. He said, "Just attack." This chief also wishes to see just how strong you, who has experienced a lucky encounter within the demonic flame realm, has become. Bang! Before the chief of the Hall of Souls could utter all that he wanted to say, a low sonic boom was swiftly picked up by his ear. Moreover, the space in front of him shook the moment the sonic boom sounded. A figure appeared in front of him in a ghost-like fashion. Both of his fingers were curled, and a pink fire seedling happily danced in an arc. The temperature of the world rose the moment the pink fire appeared. The attack had arrived extremely quick. Even the calm chief of the Hall of Souls had a stunned expression flash across his eyes. In the next instant, the dark black dou qi on the surface of his body had agglomerated like a conditional reflex. It swiftly turned into a black shield. Kai, both of Xiao Yan's fingers did not pause. They pressed against the shield, melting it with the dancing pink flame in an instant. After which, his fingers were like lightning as they headed toward the Hall Chief's eyes. HMPH. The chief of the Hall of Souls let out a cold snort when faced with Xiao Yan's vicious strike. His body did not move. He did not act to defend against Xiao Yan's finger. Instead, he slammed his palm toward Xiao Yan's chest. He was clearly intent on exchanging his eyes for the other party's eyes. Kai, the chief of the Hall of Souls has really schemed well. Xiao Yan laughed upon noticing the strike, but his hand did not halt. Instead, he lowered it and accurately pressed his fingers against the palm of the chief of the Hall of Souls. A pink flame flashed and the dense black dou qi on the chief's palm quickly melted away. The chief of the Hall of Souls frowned when he felt how overbearing the purifying demonic lotus flame was. His body trembled slightly and many after images appeared. His body reappeared in the air above. His expression was a little dark and solemn as he glanced at his palm. There was a half-an-inch long mark there. No blood seeped out of the wound because the surrounding blood vessels had been incinerated by the heat radiating from the purifying demonic lotus flame. It is indeed worthy of being the purifying demonic lotus flame. The chief of the Hall of Souls had been injured the moment the fight began. Although it was not serious, it still appeared quite ugly. The fight between the two seemed to be a close-quarters fight. Moreover, both parties were as fast as ghosts. Within a split second, they had clashed and separated. Other than a few sharp-eyed individuals, most people were a little dazzled by the clash. Their hearts involuntarily felt some yearning while feeling shocked. Xiao Yan lifted his head. He glanced at the chief of the Hall of Souls, but he did not say anything. His hand seals began to change with lightning-like speed. After the hand seals had changed, a 10,000-foot large spiritual illusory figure wrapped around the surface of his body. Yellow Spring Divine Anger. Xiao Yan did not dare to underestimate such an opponent. He immediately unleashed his extremely powerful Soul Sonic Wave attack the moment after his first strike. Mo! The enormous illusory figure widened its mouth, and a terrifying spiritual wave smashed toward the Chief of the Hall of Souls at a speed that exceeded the speed of light. Xiao Yan, other people might be afraid of your Yellow Spring Divine Anger, but this chief isn't afraid of it. The Chief of the Hall of Souls pulled back as black Do Qi erupted from his body. The Do Qi turned into an uncountable number of spiritual illusory figures in front of many stunned pairs of eyes. These illusory figures created a strange formation as they wrapped around him. Their faces were filled with devoted expressions as they knelt down. At the same time, their mouths emitted many spiritual sonic waves. 10,000 worshipping souls. Countless of spiritual sonic waves gathered in front of the Chief of the Hall of Souls before they transformed into a sharp arrow that shot out and violently collided with the Yellow Spring Divine Anger's spiritual assault. Woo 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 woo! The two spiritual sonic waves collided, and in an instant, the mountain range hummed. Many experts paled because of this spiritual fluctuation. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out, and they pulled back with shocked faces. Just the strength of the sonic wave made them completely vulnerable. The sonic waves clashed and spread through the sky. The illusory spirits surrounding the Chief of the Hall of Souls exploded one after another. Finally, all of them exploded until nothing remained. His body did not appear to suffer much damage since it had been protected. Xiao Yan ended up frowning upon seeing his attack not do much. It was the first time he had witnessed a spiritual wave attack that could match the Yellow Spring Divine Anger. This Chief of the Hall of Souls was indeed knowledgeable. Moreover, the Hall Chief's soul was also at the perfect heavenly state, equal to Xiao Yan's soul state. After this exchange, Xiao Yan had discovered that the strength of the Chief of the Hall of Souls had actually reached the intermediate level of the 5 of the Star Do Shen class. In other words, his strength had improved during these 2 years. Although your spiritual strength is powerful, I'm afraid that it is nothing but whimsical thinking if you wish to use it to defeat this chief. The Chief of the Hall of Souls randomly broke the final sonic wave attack before he spoke. Xiao Yan glanced at the Hall of Souls chief but did not reply. He opened his mouth and a pink flame was spat out. Following the appearance of this pink flame, the trees around the mountain emitted puffs and self-ignited in front of many startled eyes. After which, they turned into ashes as fierce flames raged. The Chief of the Hall of Souls' eyes narrowed when he saw the pink flame float above Xiao Yan's head. His face finally revealed an extremely grave expression. If a frightening heavenly flame like this purifying demonic lotus flame were to invade his body, even he would immediately receive a serious injury. The heavenly flame ranked 3rd on the heavenly flame ranking was not just a flame others could just talk about. This is my first time using the purifying demonic lotus flame to fight an opponent. Hopefully, you will not disappoint me. Xiao Yan lifted his head, looked at the grave-looking Chief of the Hall of Souls, and spoke with a smile. Although the demonic flame is powerful, one only needs to look at who is controlling it. The Chief of the Hall of Souls spoke in a faint voice. He observed Xiao Yan and the cluster of pink flames. The wisp of an extremely faint black flame suddenly flashed deep within his eyes. It clearly appeared extremely unusual. Moreover, the purifying demonic lotus flame might be powerful, but, Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes. He was vaguely able to detect a strange fluctuation being emitted from within Little Yi's body. Inside this chief's body, there seems to be something present. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.